Well, it's been 10 years since Super Bowl 46, and we are here to celebrate this magical season here on the All In Podcast, Captain's Edition. And I think everyone knows the guy that's sitting to my left, Mr. Eli Elite Manning himself. And we just want to, reminisce about, what a special year that was, and the teammates and the stories that maybe some things that people didn't hear about, don't know about. So let's just get into it. Eli, there was this one moment that kind of, for me personally, set the season off and set the tone for our season. And our good Michael K asked you a question on his show.
Is Eli Manning an elite quarterback? Are you a top 5, top 10 quarterback?
Yeah, I think I am.
Are you in the Tom Brady class?
Yeah, I consider myself in that class.
And I love the way you answered it, because the typical Eli Manning answer to a question like that was to talk about the team, talk about, all the things that you've always talked about from, taking the spotlight off of you. But you didn't do that this time.
No, I think just because it was such a direct question. It was like, do you consider yourself an elite quarterback, a top 5 quarterback in the NFL? And I think any athlete, you always do. You think like, hey, I can win every game. I can make every throw. I can, I've won a championship already. We can win. I know we can win championships. And so, it just felt good about how I could play, and that I was, felt like I was kind of coming into the prime of my football career. But I think it was just such a direct question that I just said, heck yeah, I'm a good quarterback.
And I think the reason why it became such a big thing was because it was so different from what the typical Eli answer would have been.
Right.
But I agree with you, though, because it was such a direct question. And I think that statement, it obviously set the tone for what you wanted to accomplish this year, because you had to go out and prove it.
You got to go perform, right?
You got to go perform.
You got to back up your words.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's kind of the part of football. If you're going to be a guy and you're going to talk and you're going to say something, you got to back it up.
Yep.
And whether you say it to the team, whether you say it to the media, the words only mean so much. It's,
no doubt.
what your actions are that really kind of carry the weight amongst the teammates, amongst the media, fans. That's the most important thing. And so, we'd missed the playoffs 2 years, in a row. We'd played decent football. We're right there at the mix, but I think you always kind of get to that make or break season where you got to prove that you are an elite quarterback, and you got to prove that you are a championship contender team. And that's offense, that's defense, that's everybody kind of coming back together and doing it. It is a definitely what have you done for me lately league when you're in the NFL.
Absolutely.
And I think that's the great thing about football is like you never know when you're going to have a championship season. Like in 07. We didn't know. We had no idea. But after that, you kind of feel like you have the ability. Like once you've done it once, you're like, well, we can do it again. We still had a great nucleus from that first team in 07. Still a lot of key guys, but you needed other guys to step up, and you needed more role players. And there's definitely a lot of kind of unknowns going into that season. And I know more of the offensive side than you, but Victor Cruz.
I was just going to say, that's a great segue. Obviously starting that season off, right, we didn't get off to the start we wanted. We go down to Washington on 9/11, but we lose that game.
Just to kind of bring in Victor's on that. Victor's a guy, it wasn't that I think everybody thinks it was that preseason.
It was the previous preseason.
Yeah. It was the 2010 preseason where you had the big game with the Jets. That next year you kind of had some hamstrings and injuries and was on IR and practice squad. And so it was but he had a good preseason going into this camp, and we'd worked hard that whole off season because it was a lockout year. People forget that. It was a lockout year, so there was no kind of mini camps and OTAs and all those things that we normally would do as a quarterback. That's where you work with your receivers and new guys and get them up to speed. And so, I was working with Victor a ton because he was a local guy at Hoboken High School and different places, and had really time to kind of teach him the offense like slowly and put up cones and kind of set things up for him to learn that offense at the time where he had a lot of reads to make, and it takes time for these young guys to go. So I kind of had a feeling he was going to be our slot receiver, and I said, you got to learn this. In the first game, Washington, the first third down, it's like 3rd and 10. I throw him a little option route. He makes a great read. He breaks out. I hit him right in the thing, drop. And it's like, and all the coaches are like, get him out, get him out. He can't do it. And it was just kind of, everybody was a little bit in panic mode right from the get-go, and we lose that game.
I kind of want to jump to kind of what the highlight of our early season. We go down to Philly, For some reason, we don't normally play that well down there. We've had some
Right.
ups and downs down there, but like that's not a place where I feel like we've played our best football. And they have obviously a stout, talented football team.
That was the dream team.
It's the dream
That was
team,
the dream
right?
team before the season.
You know, Philly fans are going to be rocking. That place is they always hate to see us come there, right? So just walk me through, what that week looked like from the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, I mean, I think that week of practice, it was still Brandon Stokely had come in. He was playing some in the slot, but he was trying to pick up this offense. It was very new for him to have to make reads as a slot. He kind of just said, hey, here's your route, and you go run it. And that's what he did for his whole career.
Sure.
Now all of a sudden he's having a lot going on. So I'm doing a lot with him, still trying to keep Victor's confidence up and kind of pump him up. But that week going into Philly, I was throwing extra routes with Brandon, and he pops a hamstring. So he's out. So now it's, hey, it's like, jobs like, Victor, you're the guy. You're the slot guy. Let's go. We need you now. Time you got to rise to the occasion. And then, and he did. Early in the game, they came out with an all-out blitz, and he just kind of, he had an outside released, 15-yard in route, but he kind of, wide, and he felt the pressure. He just peaked, and I hit him.
Manning back to throw, zips one left, caught by Cruz, runs out of a tackle to the 40, up to midfield, makes another man miss to the 45, down the left sideline. There goes Cruz, 20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown Giants, 74 yards.
Goes 75 yards for a touchdown and sauces, and there we go. But, he ends up having a couple more catches, and at the end of the game, on a great catch, kind of going over two guys, catching it, diving in the end zone to really kind of give us the win, give us the lead, and give us the win in that game. And that was a big game. We kind of struggled against the Eagles, and so going there, winning that game, and kind of having Victor emerge as kind of a rising star to go along with Akeem Nicks, who had been playing well and done great things. Mario Manningham on the outside. So we kind of felt like, hey, we got three receivers now. Outside. When you have that outside receiver that's a threat, they start doubling the outsides, and it leaves the middle of the field wide open. That's where you need that slot receiver to be able to win in the inside, and that's what Victor was able to do. And then he has that big play potential where, hey, you can throw him the short passes. He's like a running back. Hey, he can make guys miss, and I swear he ran like a 4.7, but when he got the ball in his hand, he ran a 4.4. Like, I don't know what happened. No one ever caught him.
Yeah, that was fair.
But he was just then things started clicking a little bit.
And from there, instantly my mind just goes to New England. All right, we got to go up there, play in Foxborough on a Sunday night game. For obvious reasons, this is a big game.
Sure.
But the theme of Eli's season to me that year was his fourth quarter heroics. Philly was the first one, right? We were down in the fourth quarter.
Yep.
You helped us get some scores late in that game to secure the win. But the one that really, really resonates with me is New England, because they do not lose at home. Right? We obviously know how tough that team is. And we talked about unsung heroes, or the emergence of people who we don't necessarily, see on the front page of our pregame booklet, right?
Sure.
Jake Ballard. That was kind of like his coming out. Some of the catches that he made, some of the timely first downs, the awesome catch in the back of the end zone.
Yeah.
Just kind of talked about his maturation throughout the season.
Yeah, kind of the same thing with, he had a lot of reads to make at that tight end, and we gave him lots of options. And in the middle of the season, he was getting a little bit more mature, more confident. In that fourth quarter, we're down, kind of a 2-minute drive. He had a great third down catch, over the middle, kind of, high above his head, and that was a huge play right there. Then we get down to the 2-yard line and have a little play action, hit him in the corner of the end zone for the touchdown. But, it's those type of games that help a young player kind of rise up and say, hey, I'm starting to get it. The hard work has paid off. Now they have to have the mindset of not being content and still wanting to get better and still want to improve. But when you have fourth quarter 2-minute drives wins, that is a team win, because it's not just the offense. That's the defense getting a key stop at the end of the game. And I think it helps the defense when you win a couple of those, when it's like, hey, we got to have a stop here, because we get the ball back to the offense, they're going to go win the game.
I got to get your take on this, because it had to feel good to beat Tom Brady in New England. Like, let's just be honest, right? And I'm very frank in it. The guy is one of the, if not the best quarterback to ever play the game. There's no argument there. But you have his number.
I think honestly, you have Tom Brady's number. You're the one that sacks them. You're the one that gets safeties against them. I mean, just watching Tom, what I've been most impressed. He's always so just calm and cool in the pocket. Like he just stands there. There's guys like running around. His feet aren't moving, and his feet or just implanted in the ground. Almost too much, maybe. But the Super Bowl in 07, you sacked him a bunch, and then that game, y'all are all over him. It's like tree trunks. It's only team I've ever seen him really where he gets rattled, I feel like, a little bit, is the Giants because of you and OC and JPP. I mean, you got 3 premier pass rushers in the game at the same time, just going after them.
I see what you did there, by the way.
I see switch it all around. But I think for playing New England. In New England, you knew what their record was at home. Like how good they are at home. Belichick and Brady. I mean, they're a tough team always, but especially in their own stadium. So I think for the team, that's a big win. And so we knew we were a good team. Like we knew we played everybody tough. We had the ability to beat every team we played. And I think when you go against these top quarterbacks and top teams, you want to play well. That's how you're being compared. So you want to go out and kind of beat the best quarterbacks that are out there because they're usually on the best teams as well.
Now, in Giants fashion, we normally start off pretty good, right? I think we started off 6-2, hit November.
Yeah, November's not good. The weather changed. I don't know
what happened in November, but we start out 6-2, we hit November, and then I think we lose 4 straight, right? But I'm not going to harp on that. Nobody wants to hear about that. Let's get in the meat of our season. The last 2 games of the season, we have to win these 2 games to get in. Obviously, we're at home against the Jets, and there's so many headlines heading into this game, right? It's obviously New York Giants versus New York Jets, the battle for New York, Rex Ryan and Brandon Jacobs. You have your matchup. I think the matchup that quarterback always looks at is that cornerback. They got a guy named Darrelle Revis there. Sure. They cover up our Super Bowl trophies. All this is like nonsense, right? It's all of this. If you allow it to feed into your mind heading into this week, then you're not preparing for the game. And I think we did a really good job of blocking all that noise out, right? That wasn't the narrative in the locker room. The narrative was, this is a game that we need to win, and we're in playoff mode. Because I know on the defensive side of the ball, we were licking our chops to get after Mark Sanchez.
Sure.
I mean, we felt like it was a great matchup. But just speak to what that game meant to you.
I think, and that's because of how important it was to the season that year. I mean, if you play them the first game of the season, it might be a little bit different.
Yeah.
But when you play them second to last game, we're fighting for a playoff spot. They're fighting for a playoff spot also. And Rex Ryan and Tom Coughlin, they kind of give you all the billboard material you want, right?
Sure.
I mean, we played them in the preseason the year before. They hit my helmet and I got blood off. They got that on their playbooks, on every single playbook. And so they're doing everything. But for us, hey, let's worry about the game. Let's worry about the preparation, and let's go play. And I think when you go against those Rex Ryan defenses, I mean, they're complex. They got Cromartie on the one corner. They got Revis in the other corner. So I think, it's a hard preparation week from a quarterback's standpoint and the offensive line for all the different calls going on. And so, their offense was just kind of okay, not great. And so for us, it's like, hey, be patient. Don't force things. Don't turn the ball over. Don't make it easy for them, and I think that's kind of the mindset. And, they're gonna get you a couple times. They're gonna have a blitz zero. Just, hey, don't turn that into an interception. Don't turn that into a sack fumble.
Yep.
And obviously the play of the game, there at the end, we're backed up on
another option route.
Yeah, we're backed up on our 1 yard line. It's 3rd and 10, and he runs the option route. Then I hit Victor. Cromartie kind of does a fake, I don't want to tackle this guy, deal. And so he goes by him, and again, the 4.7 speed turns to a 4.4.
And running out of a tackle down the right sideline is Victor Cruz. Chased by Smith, hurdles over him to the 30, to the 20, to the 10, to the 5. Touchdown Giants, 99 yards.
For me, I always look at turning points in the season, of turning points in the game. That was the turning point. And after that, it's funny, I don't even remember. I remember it being just like a domination after that.
Yeah, Ahmad Bradshaw had a great run, kind of down this,
that was kind of
ran over a safety there.
Ahmad, it's funny because Ahmad was not necessarily known for that type of running up. He was known for breaking tackles and being kind of that tough runner that everyone on the team come to love. But he hadn't had that Brandon Jacobs type demolishing blow from running back. And like for a guy that small to run as hard as he did and kind of cap that win, like, I just remember the explosion on our sideline when we saw that, right? Yeah. And I think that just kind of fed into the next week because again, we're still in this same mode, right? We're still in this same mode of win or go home. We have our biggest rival in the Dallas Cowboys coming here on Sunday night, and it's they win, they go to the playoffs. We win, we go to the playoffs.
Yeah. And that was a big game. We just played them 2 weeks before, right? We just played them 2 weeks before with a huge game in Dallas.
Yep.
We're down 2 scores late in the game. Hit Keem Nicks on a couple corner routes, hit Jake Ballard for a touchdown, take the lead, and then they drive down. They got a chance to kick the field goal. And again, talking about your boy JPP, just blocks a field goal to and so I think obviously a huge play in that season also, and but now we got to play them again. Now we're at home and a chance, like you said, winner goes into the playoffs.
But Victor Cruz obviously makes another great play.
He does a great
another
catch.
Option route, right?
He has one where I kind of he ran a seam down the middle. I kind of got spun out and rolled to the left, and he goes up and makes a big catch.
Down the left sideline he goes, across midfield to the 40, to the 30, to the 20, to the 10, to the 5. Touchdown, Victor Cruz! 74 yards, and he's done it again.
And then it's kind of like, all right, sometimes you have, hey, we did our part, D.
Yeah, no,
we got the lead,
and everyone knows I hate Dallas.
You get a sack, right? You get a sack to end the game.
Yeah, I did. That play is probably one of my favorite plays of the season. Getting an opportunity to kind of end the game and sack Tony Romo.
Now sacked by Tuck, fumbles the football, and the Giants have it. That's your ball game. And they're celebrating in the aisles at MetLife Stadium. The New York Giants are the NFC East champions.
Congratulations to the NFC East champions. Yes, sir. Great job of finishing now. Great job of finishing this part of the season.
Obviously, we end that game on a high note, and we're going into the playoffs playing our best football. Yeah. And that's what you want. We also knew that we had so much more to get to. As a kid growing up in Alabama, I was not a Giants fan. But there's one distinct memory I have of playoff football in Giants Stadium was the White Towers. Mm-hmm. We obviously hadn't experienced that in MetLife. We have Atlanta coming in. And the first image of me on that football field is hearing the defense chants and the White Towers. And I'm like, goosebumps down both arms because this is old school Giants football. Obviously it's the new stadium and it's the first time being there, but this is like that feeling you want as a football player in your place, bringing into the playoffs.
We better than 07. But we gotta put that together right now. Nope. They ain't built like us. Nope. They ain't built like us. They ain't ready for this we about to bring today.
And I know it's not an individual battle with you, but Matt Ryan, that offense. What was your thought process going in there as far as what we had to do to win this football game?
Yeah, I think, it was an important game, obviously a playoff game, but like you said, it's like a home playoff game. The last one we had was in 08, we lose to Philly. We had one at home in a playoff game. And that's something that should be a great memory and a great experience to do. And so you just want to go out there and play well. They're good on offense. Matt's playing well. Julio is playing well. And we knew the formula for us to play our best football is for us to have a lead and let the pass rushers be pass rushers and let y'all go and sack quarterbacks, and that's how you force quarterbacks to make mistakes or force balls.
He's basically saying that's how we win football games.
That's I get it. I get it. Y'all play well, we get a lead, and y'all play really well. And,
exactly.
It's a team sport. We help out each other. That's the formula. And if it doesn't happen, we just hey, let's wing it, and we'll have a 2-minute drive. Keep it close in the fourth, and let's go win it. But obviously, the thing about that game, Keem Nicks played off the charts early on. I threw him a little underneath route, and he goes and breaks tackles and goes for 60 to get an easy touchdown. Has another great catch in the back of the end zone, a little play action. But obviously, the plays of the game were the 4th and 1s. They had was it 2 or 3?
It was 2.
There was 2 4th and 1s, in their kind of territory where they're going, and y'all get stops.
They're going to go for it here on 4th and 1. Ryan's going to keep it. He got stopped. He didn't get there. Second time today. They've been stopped on 4th and inches by the Big Blue defense.
And from your vantage point, I know how it feels from a defensive perspective of getting those 4th and 1 stops, but What do you think that does to an offense, right? You know, if you're on the other side, if you're the Matt Ryan and you can't find a way to get that 1 yard, what does that do to the offense morale?
Yeah, it hurts morale. I think also like when you have a good drive, when you go 50 yards, boom, you got a 4th and 1. You have a good drive, you get no points. It's just demoralizing, and you don't get that 1 yard. It's a motivation for the defense, and then when we can get the ball on offense right after that and go down and score. I mean, that's a game changer. That's a 10-point game swing or 14-point swing right there. And for it to happen twice, those are game-changing plays.
And like you said, the formula, right? Get a lead and pass rush is pass rush. And, probably the best pure pass rusher I ever played with and seen is O.C. Umenyiora. And him getting the kind of the slam dunk sack where he literally sacks Matt Ryan in between the O linemen to kind of, cap it for us.
Ryan back, sacked by O.C. Umenyiora, and he closes it out.
The New York Giants are on to the divisional round and a trip to Green Bay against the Packers.
Obviously we win that game. Now we have to go face another familiar foe, another team that we had kind of let slip through our grasp in the regular season. We're out in Lambeau. And we've got some history there. It's not negative 26 or whatever it was, but it's still cold. And this team is, number 1 seed for a reason. They have probably the best offense that year. They have the best record that year. They're playing at home. They're 15-1. We come into that stadium and it's almost deja vu like.
There's 32 teams in this league. Guess how many at home? That's right, baby. But guess what? We not.
But just walk me through, what's your highlights? What's your memory of that game?
Yeah, I mean, I remember early on, maybe the first series, hit Akeem Nicks on a little in-breaking route.
He's back to throw. He has time. Fastball over the middle. Caught inside Packer territory.
He catches it. Safety tries to hit him and doesn't wrap up. He does a little spin move, and he goes another 40 yards for a touchdown.
Nicks runs out of a tackle. He's to the 35, 30, 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown Giants!
So right off the get-go, bang, we're scoring. And we played them early in the season, and it was a high-scoring game that game also. So we knew we could score against them. We knew we could move the ball and score. And it was really just, can we outscore Aaron Rodgers and that offense? Because they were rolling. I mean, Nelson and Jennings and they had they had players. So we got off to a good start, get that, and then defensively y'all were causing turnovers left and right, and y'all were getting sacks, and then obviously right before halftime there's just a few seconds left, and we throw a Hail Mary, and Akeem Nicks goes and catches it before half to extend our lead.
Heaves one down the middle of the field into the end zone, and Nicks makes the catch for the touchdown! He went up with the big hands and caught it on the Hail Mary on the final play of the half.
And so we go into halftime, and we're rolling. We're jumping, we're celebrating, we're feeling good. And again, we kind of have created what we knew we needed, a lead, a lead, and you don't feel super safe with them because they're explosive offense. Sure. But again, the second half, more fumbles, more turnovers. Brandon starts running the ball hard and has a big run towards the end of the game to expand the lead and really knock it out.
Handoff Jacobs, cuts back to the right. Jacobs turns the corner at the 10. He's to the 5, to the goal line. Touchdown Giants! And that 14-yard run is sent the Giants to San Francisco and the NFC Championship game.
I think that it helped us, the fact that we really were playing kind of playoff football since week 14 of the season. That game, our 13th game in Dallas, where we say, hey, we basically got to win out to make the playoffs. And I think everybody just kind of had that all-in mentality, saying, hey, now's the time. If you're not giving it all, now's the time. Whatever you think you're doing, if you think you're giving it all, you got to turn it up even more. There's got to be more. You got to be able to do more, give more effort, dedicate more to this season if we're going to make it special. And I think guys saw the outcome and just kept that going. All of a sudden, like you said, we kind of went in playing our best football, and we continued to do it those first 2 weeks.
Yeah, I definitely think the Green Bay game, I don't think the score really reflects how dominant of a win that was.
Our best game.
I think that was our best game.
San Francisco, here we come.
And the revenge tour kind of keeps marching on, right?
Yeah.
I had some personal battles with a couple of old linemen in San Francisco. I really, really wanted to go back out there. I really, really wanted to play these guys again. And I just remember we felt like we matched up very well with them, you know. But like for you, I didn't necessarily know if it was a better option for you.
Exactly. They were good on defense.
They were really good on it. And if you think about the names, right?
Patrick Willis,
you got
Bowman.
You got Bowman, you got Willis, you got these Smiths. You had Brooks on the other side. Their secondary, you had, you know, two hard-hitting safeties. You had Carlos Rogers, who had played an all-pro season in the slot.
Yeah.
And that was the matchup that I was most intrigued by, because obviously Victor Cruz came on the scene, and he was the guy. He was our Pro Bowl wide receiver. He was going to be the deciding factor of how we kind of dealt with that offense. Because knowing that they were going to get after you up front, knowing that you probably wouldn't have a lot of time to make decisions, the fact that he was able to get you an option open quickly.
Yeah, like you said, you know, Victor versus Carlos Rogers in the slot, and Victor right off the first third down, I hit him, you know, over the middle for about 15 yards, and you know, he ran a bunch of option routes, little quick little, you know, underneath routes where we kept hitting him. Again, that's about all we had time to throw a lot of those.
Manning and Cruz are just playing flag football right now. They're playing absolute pitch and catch.
Pitch and catch. You're going to have to find a way to get Carlos Rogers some help on it. I know he's the Pro Bowl corner, and Cruz is just having his way with him right now.
Cruz at 112 yards on 7 catches already.
We wanted to run the ball, and we just couldn't. Like, every time we run the ball, we lost 2 yards. So I think finally, you know, Kevin Gilbride's like, well, we're not running it anymore. We're going to throw it and we'll figure it out. And I'm like, oh, perfect. I mean, and I'm just getting drilled. And you know, we kind of threw it well, and then all of a sudden it was like a sack. You know, they just caused so many negative plays. It was hard to get into a rhythm.
But like from my vantage point, no one ever had anything to say about Eli's toughness. Obviously, the streak and how long you played and like taking hits, and you never, even when you were hurt, we just felt like you was gonna show up and be there on Sunday. There were some times in that game, man, I didn't know how you got up, to be honest with you. You know when cops at the scene and there's a body on the floor and they do a white outline of the body?
Yeah.
I felt like there were like imprints of your body in the ground all over the field from some of the hits that you took. But
I'm
like
still
just
pulling grass out of my hair from that game.
But like from our vantage point on the sideline, you don't understand how much that just riled us up, because we knew you was out there giving 110%, getting beat up and still getting up and making the throws as you made. On the defensive side of the ball, it's like, listen, man, if this preppy quarterback can get up and do all this stuff, we got to do 10 times better than that.
Like, there was never going to be a doubt whether I was getting up or not. Like, I was always try to get up as fast as possible. You're playing a NFC Championship game, and, you know, there's no laying down. You get up and, you know, whatever. Afterwards, you get to the sideline, you see the trainer, but you're not doing it at the time.
And as a defensive lineman, right, that's one thing I always looked at. When I got a sack, or when one of my teammates got a sack against the quarterback, how quickly did he get up? It's like a shark when you feel blood is in the water,
sure,
right? Your energy level is.
Let's go. Let's get him again, right?
Your engine just starts revving at that point. But when you see a guy, you feel like you have a really hard hit on him, and you expecting him to stay down there, and then by the time you look back up, and he's already clapping in the huddle.
Yeah.
That almost kind of makes you feel like, God, did I get him as good as I got him, or you know what I'm saying? So
it frustrates you.
Yeah, it frustrates you, and I think that's the part of the game that a lot of people don't understand. It's just that mental psyche. So at this point in the game, we're just back and forth. It's like the defenses have established themselves as the dominators of this game. Our defense is really, really stifling their offense, and it's just punt city, right? It's just punt city.
We had a turnover, and I hit Mario Manningham.
That's right, in the middle of the end zone, right?
Yeah, so we had like a third down. We kind of drew up a play. We're trying to work Victor, and we said, you know, hey, give Mario a post on this in case they kind of double Ballard and Victor Cruz, which they did, and they kind of doubled Akeem on the right. So, you know, Mario was kind of the only guy that was one-on-one.
Yep.
And hit him on the post, and so, you know, perfect call by Gilbride, and Manningham makes a great kind of tough catch with a safety.
Manning back to throw. He zips one to the left to the end zone. Touchdown Giants, Mario Manningham.
Bob, you said he was going to come up big at some point in this game. They can't double both Cruz and Hakeem Nicks.
And the Giants are back in front with 8:34 to go.
The biggest play of we haven't talked about special teams, right? The biggest factor in this game, Williford is kicking the ball down there and giving us that field position, and Williams makes a unbelievable play. We get the fumble.
Boots one, returnable for Williams from his own 20. Lost the ball, and the Giants say they have it, and they do! Knocked out by Jaquan Williams. Devin Thomas recovered it.
That's typical of like old school Giant versus 49ers football, right? Field position game. get it in the fourth quarter, someone makes a play and, kick a field goal to win it.
Yeah, then we get Tynes to put us
Back
in the Super Bowl.
Lawrence Tynes from 31 yards to put the Giants in the Super Bowl against the Patriots. Kick on its way. It's got the distance, and it is good! And Lawrence Tynes has done it again. He's kicked the Giants to the second Super Bowl in 4 years.
And again, a familiar foe.
Yep.
We're going into this game. The narratives around what's happening here is like 42 was a fluke. Eli throws the lucky pass to Tyree over the, 9 times out of 10, that's either incomplete or intercepted or he's sacked. Everyone's talking about this is Tom Brady's, revenge game. So from my perspective that week, more than I had ever done leading up into a game was me just being observant of how my teammates responded to negativity, responded to good things that they were having going on in their life, because I knew it was going to be called upon us as captains of this team, because you're going to face some moments in this game that obviously you're not prepared for.
Sure.
And like one thing that I always get asked about is that speech before the game.
How many of y'all want it today? I got a ring. Chris, you ain't got one. You don't know what it feel like. Rock, you ain't got one. You don't know what it feel like. Limber, you ain't got one. You don't know what it feel like. Boss, you ain't got one. You don't know what it feel like. I'm telling you right now, it's the best feeling in the world. And if it's on me today, you're going to have one after this.
You don't have a ring, Chris. You don't have a ring, boss. And for me, I never went into these games, I hated giving these speeches. I really did. I was not the Michael Strahan of the team. He loved that. I hated it. But I realized that certain players needed it. For me, it was like giving me a field, a football, and a helmet, and I'm ready to go. But from my perspective, being observant of my teammates, some of them loved them. So that's what got me up to doing it. But in that moment, I also knew how Linville would respond with me calling him out or saying his name, how Chris Canty would respond. But I also knew I needed them to help us win the game, but if it was on me, because if I was not going to be able to walk off this field, that's how much I was going to give this team to win this game. So if it's on me, you will have one today. That's where that kind of originates. And getting the opportunity to kind of be the guy who sets the tone with the luckiest safety of my life.
Brady on a play fake, he will throw. He has time. Now he's going to throw a deep ball down the middle of the field. Nobody's there as Brady took a shot.
Intentional grounding. Number 12 is safety.
Justin Tuck terrorized Tom Brady in Super Bowl 42. Gets a hit on Brady on the first snap of the game tonight.
So
deep in their field, right?
Intentional grounding, you got the safety? Is that right?
Yeah.
Gee, that's a good.
It was supposed to be a sack.
So it wasn't a sack, it was just a safety?
It was just a penalty.
Just
So I ended up only having 2 sacks in the game where I should have had 3.
But you had a safety, but that's not a sack.
It's not a sack. But that's neither here nor there.
You're not bitter about it.
Not at all.
No,
not at all.
Doesn't sound like it.
I'm tied for the most sacks in Super Bowl history. If I would have had that one, I would have the most.
There you go. So, who's counting?
Yeah, no, I don't lose any sleep. No. And we started the game off 2-0. Right? And then from there, you guys get the ball, you go down, you hit Victor Cruz on what looked like a slant, like a quick slant, back of the end zone, 9-0. Just like our season, we're kind of off to the races, right? We started the season off 6-2. We started this game off, 9-0, and we're feeling good about ourselves. And, just like our season, something went wrong, right? I think they run off 17 straight points against us. We found ourselves down 17-9. We had been there, right? We had kind of seen this narrative throughout our entire year. But in that moment, what are you going in the huddle, right? Because we got to go down and score. We got to get some points on the board. What's happening in your huddle? What's happening on the offense?
Yeah, I mean, I think, kind of when you get down, you kind of get back to that fourth quarter. It's a 2-minute drive. You need some points. Like, we got to get back on a roll. We got to get the momentum back. Let's go. And so again, y'all get another stop, get us the ball back.
Chase Blackburn interception.
The interception was down the field from Gronk. Which is Gronk versus Chase Blackburn. Who are you gonna take? Chase Blackburn, right?
I'm taking.
There you go.
I'm taking good old Chase. I would say that Chase Blackburn play is kind of like that resurgence where we just went that way, right? And obviously, you go down and score. We're down. I think it's 17-15, right?
Yeah.
We get another stop. You get the ball. This time it's like we only need a field goal.
Right. I'm
sitting on the sideline. I'm telling the D-line, listen, just stay in it because we're going to have to go back.
Right.
There wasn't a doubt in my mind that we was going to go down there and find a way to score. And I'm thinking like, yo, we're going to hit an out pass here, maybe a, play action pass over the middle of the ballot. Something just, you was having none of that, right? It was like,
first play, yeah.
So it wasn't like what people like to say, oh, it was a fluke throw. No, this is something you worked on. This is something that you obviously put the time in to put the ball exactly where it needs to be.
Manning out of the shotgun set, and he's back to throw. Climbs the pocket, deep ball down the left sideline, and it's going to be caught. Was he inbounds? Yes!
What a catch. It's not quite David Tyree, but that is pretty close.
And I tell people all the time, yes, Mario made a great catch, but he had no choice. Like, that ball hit his hands because you put the ball in such a great place. Now, I give Mario a lot of credit being able to tightrope that sideline and get 2 feet in right there. That's phenomenal. But that was probably the best throw I've ever seen you make.
Well, thank you. I was looking to my right, and they had, kind of doubling Akeem and Victor and had them blanketed. And so it was really kind of like, I'm going to look to Mario. He was running. He was full speed. Patrick Chung kind of had cheated him, I think, with my eyes looking right and saw, a little window and let her fly. But, great catch by him. That's like the hardest catch. It's like over your outside shoulder. You got to keep 2 feet in, and you're about to get hit.
Yeah.
So that was like such a huge play in a 2-minute drive, and you get a chunk play right off the get-go. Like, we're backed up at our own 10-yard line, and now we're across the 50.
Yep.
And now we're kind of in the advantage right
now
there.
The defense is like,
they're boom.
Because we only need a field goal.
Right. And
right?
So, right after
so now your defense
I
is
hit
like
a slant to Akeem, and then they get aggressive. They're coming out blitz zero a few times now, trying to back us up, get us out of field goal range, and we check to screens, and whatever they were doing, we had the answer.
Yep.
And we get close, and they're going to let us score, right? They let us score. We have a handoff.
I still don't think Ahmad.
He didn't know what to do.
I think he meant to score.
No, he knew what to score. He's like, maybe I shouldn't, but I'm scoring.
I gotta get a touchdown.
We never told him not to.
Sure.
And you do it again, you got to score. But obviously, we probably did give Patriots the ball back with a little bit more time than we wanted to.
But this is what people don't understand about most defensive players, just competitors. You want that moment. Like, you've already had it.
Right.
I'm actually kind of jealous, right? That Eli gets these fourth quarter heroics, and he ends the game either with scoring the touchdown or kicking the field goal to win, and then the defense doesn't get to go out and kind of.
So you got your moment now.
I wanted to be a part of the group. I wanted my group to end it, and I had the opportunity to sack Tom. It's 4th and 18, I think.
That's something. I'm feeling
right.
good.
It's like game's over.
Yeah.
Right.
No, they convert. They
I mean,
convert. At that point, I got nervous. That's when I got nervous. I was
got really nervous, right? So it's like, all right, they convert 20-yarder, come back, and I'm like, golly, now he has a shot to get the ball to the end zone, and you never know what happens on here. Obviously, we had a big one against Green Bay where it worked out in our favor, right? But JPP gets a lot of pressure on Tom. He doesn't allow Tom to kind of sit. But Tom, being Tom, he still gets the ball there, and that ball's in the air, and I never forget it, man. I'm looking at the ball, it's in the air. It seems like forever. It had to have been in the air for 3 minutes. The ball comes down. Kenny Phillips and Dion, they bat it down, and you just never know, right? Because you don't bat it away, you bat it down, and there's other bodies there. Because Gronk, the ball almost fell in Gronk's hands, and
it was close. Gronk was close to catching that.
Incomplete, and the ball game's over, and the Giants have won Super Bowl 46. Finish is what Tom Coughlin said, and the Giants have finished off the Patriots in the Super Bowl for the 2nd time in 4 years.
We are world champions.
Everyone asked me, what is the first thing you remember? And I was like, the first thing I remember actually is Eli almost tackled me.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's what when you win, you just got to go hug somebody. You look for, you go hug.
And it was just I have this great picture in my house of me and you embracing my hands in the air, and you're on top of me, and just that jubilation of knowing that all of the work that you've put in, all of the sacrifices that you put in, not only you, but us as a team, us as a staff, everyone that made up the Giants organization, that kind of just flashes in my brain right then as far as all the work that's put in. And you've accomplished what you set out to accomplish. And obviously having an opportunity to do it twice, the question that everyone asks me, and I'm sure you get it a lot, is which one was better? And I don't know the answer. It depends on how I'm feeling. One day I'm saying this one day I'm saying that one. But the one reason I would say 46 was probably a little better for me personally is because 42 wasn't necessarily my team, right? I was in a lot of ways along for the ride, right? It was Stray, it was you, it was Toomer, it was AP. I was the young buck that obviously played a big part in it, but that was that was more their team. Now 46, everybody on the team looked at us.
Yep.
Everyone. For me, I say that's probably why 46 is probably my favorite.
No, I agree. I think obviously, I said they're like your kids. You don't really have favorites,
Sure.
But there's definitely some special things about 46. Just the fact that the amount of fourth quarter comebacks we had. So like for me, that's something I take pride in, and like the amount of touchdowns in the fourth quarter. You felt like you had a bigger impact on the team in 46 than in 42, just for me, and just the way we were able to battle through the tough moments and to rise to the occasion, and so many opportunities to win in 3 games in a row at the end of the season just to get us into the playoffs. So it's just such a fun ride there, and to obviously cap it off with the victory. And it's just the feeling you have for your family, for your friends, for the ownership and fans, and for each player. I mean, I think that was a big part for me, is kind of like, I wanted to win for Victor Cruz. I wanted to win for Antrell.
Yep.
I wanted to win JPP. Like the guys who hadn't won a Super Bowl, you want to win for those guys when you have one yourself, and to give those guys that feeling for the first time of being a champion is pretty special.
Yeah, in this league, right, you obviously want to have a big contract. You obviously want to make Pro Bowls. You want to have touchdowns and sacks and all that stuff. But if you don't have one of those, it's not a complete feeling.
Yeah.
And talking to a lot of greats that didn't have the opportunity to do that, you got Hall of Famers who never got the opportunity to be at the top of that mountain. To get there, to understand what it took to get there, is indescribable. It's a moment, and like after the game was over, I went to the sideline. I sat on this golf cart with a flatbed. I'm just sitting there and I'm watching the perspective from a 360 view. And what it gave me the opportunity to do is just enjoy the moment, soak it in, from the perspective of I got to see, people hugging their families. I got to see, guys crying. I got to see guys, just jumping for joy in that confetti, atmosphere. It put things in perspective for me of why you play this game and why it's so important to us, knowing from ownership down, from the fan base that supported us all year, just how that has changed people's lives, to be honest with you. I'm sure you get it, but I get fan mail where people talking about, me and my son's relationship came better because we united over this run. There was a giant nation of fans and people who supported us that for the next however long, even probably up until this day, they went to work bragging and it just made their lives better. And that's pretty damn special.
And they can't take it away from us.
Oh, no, they definitely can't take it away from us. So I think the last thing I want to talk about, obviously we won it. Now you got the trip home and the parade. But the Canyon of Heroes, that celebration, seeing millions of fans, Eli for President signs, a jersey everywhere, all of that.
That never gets old. The Canyon of Heroes is such a cool experience. And I've seen lots of parades growing up in New Orleans and Mardi Gras, but never with that many people, 3 million people, and confetti and people hanging out of windows and out of, all over the place. And so it's just such a great way to celebrate with your teammates one last time and with the fans. Say thank you to the fans, get to bring your wife along, the people who supported you along the way. So I think those are some of the coolest moments. What are your memories from that day?
Yeah, I think, growing up in Kelton, Alabama, I never imagined anything like this, right? Like you said, 3 million plus people chanting your name, chanting Go Giants, celebrating this moment with you. It's unfathomable for me personally, right? Then to get to the stadium, and it just so happens that, it's my son's birthday.
Mm-hmm. I need y'all to do me one favor. Today is my son's 2nd birthday. A couple of days ago, I won my 2nd ring. So on 2, I want y'all to just say, happy birthday, Jace. 1, 2.
Having the crowds wish Jace a happy birthday and sing happy birthday to him, it almost brought tears to my eyes because, that's something that I know he was 2 years old and he still remembers that.
Yeah.
He still, obviously sees the video and the pictures of the confetti hitting him while I'm carrying him on stage. And, that probably was my most favorite moment. Because you talk about it, right? You feel like everybody in that stadium is your family at that moment, right? If not, still to this day. It just felt like it was a family atmosphere. And getting the opportunity to play for the Giants, obviously, which is a family atmosphere type of organization, that's definitely going to be something that you never forget. It's so special that luckily we get an opportunity to celebrate this, this 10-year anniversary, but I look forward to the 15, the 20. I look forward to the 11th because we were such a close-knitted group. A lot of us still are very much so in touch with each other and intact with each other and understanding what's going on in people's lives and how the families are doing. We were every team we played on was pretty much close. Sure. But when you win a Super Bowl, that's another level,
bond.
Right? That's a special bond, and that's what I'll definitely remember about that day and the 10 years since.
Well, Tuck, it's been a lot of fun reminiscing on this Super Bowl, and that's going to conclude our All In New York Giants podcast. It was a lot of fun, and it was a great day.